Hello, hello. I had an excellent question about what techniques do I use to develop a really good long-term habit. And there's actually several elements to this that I think are important. And just to keep it simple, one of the first things I think in order to develop a long-term habit is you've got to have your values and your priorities in check. Question is, are those values and priorities important to you? What's the long-term effect? Why do you want to develop this habit or add this into your schedule or daily routine? And I've had to answer this because I've had values and priorities that I thought were important, but I didn't invest time, energy, money, or even put into the relationships that I wanted to develop. I was talking about it, but I wasn't investing in them. So it's important to check those priorities and values to make sure there's something you truly want that you're truly going to benefit from. Number two is you want to have a cue or a prompt behavior that you can tie in this new habit with. So in essence, in my case, I usually make coffee every morning, whether that's at work or at home. And right after that, I could tie in the habit of exercising or reading or doing a devotion, maybe doing prayer or meditation or anything else you want to do. But basically, make the coffee, then immediately start exercising in this one example. And that exercise, it needs to be small, once again. You need to keep it tiny so it inserts in and it's below your motivation level. You should not have to have motivation to do this tiny habit. So in my case, I would start to make the coffee and immediately I might just start exercising for 5 minutes, maybe do one set or do one rep, whatever it is, and then I can go back to doing something else. But at least I've tied those two together that as soon as I start making the coffee, I start exercising in this one example. The third piece of that is that once you have this in place, that prompt, the other way you can deal with this too is you can kind of hack it, meaning you can switch those two things around so you kind of have a push-pull effect, a motivating effect, meaning instead of making the coffee first, you could first, as soon as you start thinking about making coffee, you can say, oh, before I make that delicious, yummy coffee, I'm going to exercise first. And that way, it pushes you to exercise and it pulls you to make that coffee. So you kind of have a push-pull double effect with the situation. So that's helped me a ton, but everybody has to test these out for themselves because everybody's going to be different. There's no one size fits all. There's no magic bullet, I don't believe, for most things. Everybody has to fit it into what's going to work for them. But in this case, with that hack, if you put that right before it, I found that to be just as effective for me because once again, I don't have to exercise for 3 hours before I make coffee. I don't have to exercise for 5 minutes. Once again, it could be 1 minute, could be 10 minutes, could be one set, could be one rep. But that's one way to do it. And just to recap, once again, you need to have both awareness. Is it important to you on your priorities and values? Is it truly important? Number two, you need that cue behavior. Ideally, you have that first and then you put in your new habit, or you can hack it and switch that around. Put in your new habit because of your awareness right before you do your normal daily routine, in my case of making coffee. So I would exercise real quickly, then make some coffee. And then over time, I can increase that type of habit. But I don't want to increase it too soon because I found when I increase habits too soon and do way more, then all of a sudden I'm getting into that whole mind trap of, oh, I don't have enough time to do my habit. Now I'm not going to do it at all. Nope, just keep it small and then slowly you can build it when it becomes natural and automatic.